Thank you to Catherine Campbell for her lovely playing of Debussy for our procession. Good afternoon. It's a long day. My name is Louise Toppin. I'm chair of the music department, and I want to welcome and congratulate the class of 2017 on your graduation day. I also want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers and surrogate mothers who are in attendance. That's many of us on the faculty. In life, we hit many milestones from our first breath, steps, and words to our first job, car payment, mortgage, and tax returns. Today, you have reached the latter milestone that signals your progress from a dependent on your parents' tax return to adulthood, thus making a new level of independence for you and your parents. I know some of you delayed the inevitable by going to graduate school. I did too, 3 degrees after my bachelor's, so I understand. As you think about the next milestone, I encourage you to remain open to the opportunities that will be presented to you. Consider looking beyond what is easiest or the safest option, and stretch yourself to consider opportunities that are beyond your imagination. When you remain open to the possibilities, life can present some pretty amazing options. When I entered UNC, yes, I entered UNC as a pre-med and piano student, I never dreamt I would have a career as a singer in opera, oratorio, and recital, and a voice heard on 17 CDs distributed worldwide. I did not expect that my career would take me to every inhabited continent. I haven't been to the frozen one, thank you. I had an opportunity, but I said, I might not get back for 6 months, I'm not going. To sing in major halls, teach, and interact with people of the world. I also never dreamt I would have an opportunity to return to UNC for 7 years after a 20-year career at ECU. It was an honor to serve as the head of voice, associate chair, and finally, a distinguished professor and chair of this Department of Music. With my departure from UNC this summer for a new job at the University of Michigan, I am remaining open to the possibilities, and I look forward to the next milestone in my own life. This music department, gave me the foundation I needed to aim high and become the performer, teacher, administrator, mentor, colleague, and friend that I am today. I am grateful to the UNC Department of Music on so many levels. Armed with a Bachelor of Music and Piano from UNC on a graduation day long ago like this one, I began the journey that you are starting. You are ready for your next steps, and I hope you will remain flexible and aim high, as you do not know what is around the corner awaiting you. The possibilities really are endless. I look forward to reading about your accomplishments in the UNC Department newsletter, and I congratulate you as you graduate from our program this afternoon. Thank you. And now, please welcome Professors Alan Anderson and Jocelyn Neal, who will recognize our degree recipients.
Thank you, Professor Toppin. Will the Bachelor of Arts degree recipients please stand and come to the stage when your name is called? Catherine Elizabeth Campbell. Ethan Chu. Claire Kristen Cooper. Marissa Brooke Cranford. Matthew James Deegan. Elizabeth Ellis Eason. Jordan Alexander Gerber. Sophia Marie Haley. Jordan Bell Holloman. Spencer Thomas Ivy. Anne Margaret Keller. Lee Powell Landis. Matthew James Litzinger. Hannah Revere Lore Pearson. Erin Nicole Mayo. Erin Mortera Ortega. Oh, all right. Brent Matthew Pontillo. Bridget Ronnie Palmasamy. Eric Taylor Shupelski. Ekaterina Elise Tupas San Pedro. Mansi Kamlesh Shah. John Nathaniel Thorpe. Congratulations to all the recipients of the Bachelor of Arts degree.
Will all the Bachelor of Music students please stand and come to the stage when your name is called? Leah Heather Bishop. Roisin Ann Birmingham. Eleanor Ward Kane. Eliana Hannah Fishbane. Sarah Margaret Haynes. Brian Joseph Holzhauser. Shafali Fleur Jalota. Elizabeth Ann Kent. Atticus Joshua Brobst Reynolds. Maitram Riquier. Jackson Lee Valentine. Congratulations to all the recipients of the Bachelor of Music degree. You're welcome to be seated. Now I would like to recognize the graduate students who have earned degrees this year. Our students who have received a Master's of Arts in Musicology have completed 2 years of graduate coursework and written a substantial master's thesis, as well as passed an examination before the academic faculty. I will list the names of our 4 recipients of our Master of Arts degree: Amanda Margaret Black, Jamie Tiot Blake, Samantha Carey Horn, and Sarah Elizabeth Tomlinson. Please join me in congratulating these students. Our students who are receiving a Doctorate of Philosophy degree have started with graduate coursework and shorter research papers before undertaking several years of original research in a chosen field. With their dissertation, they have completed a significant and original contribution to our knowledge and interpretation of music. They were hooded yesterday and had their degrees conferred in a formal ceremony. We extend our celebration of this formidable achievement today. Please join me as we welcome these new PhDs to an ancient and venerable company of scholars. I will read both their names and their dissertation titles, and please come to the stage when your name is called. Molly Leanna Barnes, with a dissertation titled The Ideal of Egalitarianism in American Musical Discourse from 1848 to 1861, advised by Professor Mark Evan Bonds. Gina Marie Bombola. Her dissertation is titled Can't Help Singing, The Modern Opera Diva in Hollywood Film, 1930 to 1950, advised by Professor Annegret Fauser, and Gina received the Glenn Hayden Award for an outstanding dissertation in musicology. Samuel J. Brannon, with a dissertation entitled Writing About Music in Early Modern Print Culture, Authors, Printers, and Readers, advised by Professor Anne McNeil. Megan K. Egan, with a dissertation titled The Articulation of Communal Identities Through Psalm Motets, Augsburg, 1540 to 1585, advised by Professor Anne McNeil. William Robin, with a dissertation titled A Rising Tide Lifts All Boats, Sociality, Economics, and Community in American New Musical Institutions since 1987, advised by Professor Mark Katz. And David Ross Vanderham, with a dissertation entitled The Social Construction of Virtuosity, Musical Labor, and the Valuation of Skill in the Age of Electronic Media, advised by Professor Mark Katz. Congratulations to all our recipients of the Doctor of Philosophy degree.
Congratulations to all of our students on receiving your degrees this morning or yesterday, as well as at the ceremony. I have the rare treat of welcoming one of my own students to the podium, who is this year's student speaker, Shafali Fleur Jalota. Shafali is graduating with the highest grade point average of her class. She is a voice major and was one of our concerto winners this spring. She hails from Silver Spring, Maryland, and she will attend the University of Maryland on a full graduate fellowship in the fall to earn a Master's of Music in Opera Performance. Shafali?
Good afternoon. I would like to thank Dr. Toppin, Professor Klebanow, and the faculty of the Department of Music for the invitation to speak today. And I would like to thank you, graduates, families, and friends, for allowing me to share some thoughts with you on this very special day. During my second semester at Carolina, I took Philosophy 163, a course entitled Practical Ethics, because, as many of us know, that PI credit is pretty tough to get, and I thought, okay, let's get this out of the way. I found the class hard, and sometimes pretty frustrating, especially after one assignment. I had to write a paper about why people are morally obligated to donate to arts organizations, a symphony orchestra, for instance, instead of any other nonprofit. Essentially, the question was trying to address a broader issue. The question, why is music important? I thought, this is great. This will be so easy. Obviously it wasn't, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it, but there we go. I loved music. I was ready to spend my college career and hopefully my later life studying and performing music. I thought I knew why music was important. But every argument I tried to put down just wasn't satisfying. After days of staring at a blank Word document, I realized I didn't really have an answer for myself for why music was important. After that experience, I took this question to heart. I'd ponder it in the shower, in the practice room, after class. What is the importance of music? Why should I pursue music instead of any other field? Let me pause for a moment to assure you that I did not try to cram a convincing philosophical argument on the power of music into a 3-minute speech. That would have been probably an issue. But I would like to share 2 experiences I've had at Carolina with you that shaped the way that I've thought about the importance of music. Beginning in my sophomore year, my voice teacher, Dr. Toppin, said to me, "Shefali, it is not enough to sing well or make a pretty sound. It has to mean something." These words made me realize something that seems pretty obvious in hindsight. Music is a way of communicating. We've all had the joy and challenge of giving sounds meaning. We've all felt the special pull of a piece of music that you love to perform, a piece that means something to you. As musicians, we've brought meaning to music for ourselves and for audiences. Through your own music making, you can shape the importance of music by the meaning you choose to give it. Which brings me to my second anecdote. This past April, I had the opportunity to learn and sing the Verdi Requiem with Carolina Choir, the UNC Symphony Orchestra, and faculty soloists. We did this as part of a broader project called the Defiant Requiem. This project had been put together to commemorate the experiences of Jewish people imprisoned at the Nazi concentration camp of Terezin. Under the leadership of Raphael Schechter, a large chorus of Jewish prisoners painstakingly learnt Verdi's Requiem by rote from a single score brought into the camp. As many of my fellow seniors can attest, the performance was an incredible experience. I thought a lot about my question during the Defiant Requiem. At Terezin, music was the one thing that could not be taken away from the prisoners. Music was defiance, an act of protest, and a powerful expression of humanity. And our performance was so powerful that most of the audience was brought to tears, moved by the music, and ultimately brought together as a community. Music is important for so many reasons, and it is important to each of us for different ones. So I would encourage all of you to reflect on this question. Why is music important to you? I'm awed by the incredible talent in this room. My fellow classmates are skilled in the performance of different instruments and many different types of music. So, in the tradition of graduation speeches, I would challenge you to do 2 things. First, consider how and why music has been important in your life. And second, in whatever path life leads you, follow that path with the passion, dedication, and meaning that made your performances a joy to see and to be part of. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Shefali, for those poignant words. We will now have a performance from mezzo-soprano Claire Cooper and pianist Chao Jianguo, who will perform Liebst du Schönheit by Clara Schumann. The text and translation are on the back of your program. Thank you so much, Claire and Chao Jiang. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Renowned musicologist Thomas Forrest Kelly earned his undergraduate degree from Carolina in 1964. He spent 2 years in France on a Fulbright scholarship at the Scola Cantorum de Paris and the Royal Academy of Music before earning his master's degree and a PhD at Harvard. He is currently the Morton B. Knopfel Professor of Music at Harvard. This morning in Kenan Stadium, Professor Kelly was awarded an honorary doctorate from UNC, and we are delighted to have him with us to say a few words to you. Professor Kelly.
I couldn't be prouder of anything than I am of my new hood. You want to see it? My other hood is not Carolina blue, and I'm happy about this one. It's a source of great pride and emotion to me to be in this room where I studied so much when I was here in college. I don't know what it's like to have your name become an institution. I think we'll hear about that from Chancellor Mieser in a minute. But I'm proud to be in a room named for him. I took organ lessons at an organ console that used to be right down here and went up and down in an amazing way. The room, it's proof in a way that although you recognize it, nothing stays the same. One of the things about growing up in Chapel Hill is that when you go to college, you realize that all those people, your scoutmaster, your Sunday school teacher, your the music teacher in the school, all those people whom you knew as a child had day jobs at the university as president, chancellor, members of the faculty, all sorts of things. So those of us who were raised here, when we went to college, found that we actually knew people that undergraduates were not actually supposed to be acquainted with. One thing that did for me was that knowing, as I did, that to major in music was completely impractical and no reasonable person would do that, I didn't. But I did take a course called Music 41. I think in today's inflationary world, it's called Music 141. It was a music appreciation course taught by Professor William S. Newman, whom I knew and had known all my life. At the end of the course, he said, "Tommy, I want you to stay after and help me grade the exam. I want to talk to you." So I did, and he did. And what he said was, "You shouldn't be taking this music appreciation course." It was taught in that room over there. Is it 012? I don't know, the large classroom on the left-hand side as you go out. He said, "You shouldn't be taking a music appreciation course. You should be a music major." I remember thinking, well, yeah. So I said, "Thank you, Dr. Newman," and went away. But within a couple of days, I was back in his office saying, well, suppose I did want to be a music major. What would happen then? And he cobbled together a sort of a 5-semester emergency music major. And here I am. I had the good fortune to be able to say to him what a difference in my life that remark of his paying attention to me, made to me. In the same way that Shefali says that Louise Toppin made that difference to her. I had occasion the other day to be with my wife Peggy, who's sitting right over there, the good-looking women, four in from the end, at the Boston Symphony Orchestra. And a very attractive young woman, about 4 seats over from us, slid over at intermission and said, "Professor Kelly, you probably don't remember me, but I was a student in your great big music appreciation course at Harvard. And because I took that course, I loved the pieces I studied. I started going to concerts. Now I am not only a subscriber, but a member of the Board of Governors of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and I thank you for it." So, don't forget to thank people for those things. I had occasion to be asked to read in church the other day, and the thing I was given to read was something that struck me as just amazingly appropriate somehow. What it said was from the book of Isaiah, "The Lord has given me the tongue of a teacher, that I might speak a word of comfort to the weary." And I was thinking, you know, that's what we do as teachers, but not only. It's also what we do as musicians and as teachers and as administrators, speak a word of comfort to the weary. I'm not sure we do the speaking, it's the music that does the speaking. But that word of comfort to the weary is what we're all about. Those of you who are out there who may have regretted when your child said, "I'm going to be a music major," those of you who think, "Oh, poor dear, she'll never get a job, she'll never be able to make a living," bear this in mind, that she will get to get up every morning of her life and do what she loves. So she made the right choice. And all of these people are going to speak a word of comfort to the weary. They're going to make the world full of music. They're going to listen to it, they're going to sing it, they're going to teach it. And Lord knows, a world full of art is a world that's going to be a lot better place after you all have contributed to it than it is now, despite my best efforts. So please go out there, speak that word of comfort to the weary. We're all waiting for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Kelly. Now, Professor Tonu Kalam will present our Music Department Awards.
Thank you, Dr. Toppin. I am very happy to announce these special awards. They honor the many accomplishments of our gifted music students. The descriptions of the individual awards are printed in your program. Please come up to the stage when I call your name. The David Aarons Award for Excellence in Music Performance goes to Ethan Chu. The Music Department Award for Academic Excellence goes to Shefali Fleur Jalota. The Carolina Choir Award goes to Jordan Alexander Gerber. The Chamber Music Award is given to 3 people: Ethan Chu, Elizabeth Ellis Eason, and Hannah Revere Lore Pearson. The Glenn Hayden Award for an outstanding dissertation in musicology goes to Gina Marie Bombola. The Benjamin Swalene Orchestra Award, also to 3 people: Catherine Elizabeth Campbell, Elizabeth Ellis Eason, and Joshua Paul Hartman. And the UNC Opera Award goes to Shefali Fleur Jalota. The remainder of the awards listed in your program have already been given out on earlier occasions. Please join me in congratulating all of our award winners.
Today, we are excited to hold our first graduation ceremony in the beautiful, newly renovated James and Susan Meeser Auditorium in Hill Hall. I don't know how many of you were here last year when it was, year before last, when we weren't in an air-conditioned space, but what a difference 2 years makes, huh? We are grateful to James Meeser, UNC Chancellor Emeritus and Professor of Music Emeritus, and his wife, Professor of Music Susan Meeser, who is sitting over there, for their tremendous, generous support of all aspects of our music department. We are delighted to invite James Meeser to the podium to deliver today's commencement address.
Dr. Taubin, Dr. Kelly, for wonderful remarks. Thank you. I am delighted to be here with you today in the Department of Music's first ever air-conditioned commencement. Most of you graduating today will not fully appreciate this, but the faculty will, and all of you can remember many past performances in this auditorium with perspiration streaming down your backs and bodies. At last, this university has provided you and your future colleagues an auditorium worthy of the quality of this department. It has been a struggle. As most of you know, this building was the university's original library, given by Andrew Carnegie in 1907. It served as the library until the completion of Wilson Library in 1929, at which time Durham philanthropist John Sprunt Hill, a UNC trustee and alumnus of the class of 1889, funded the addition of an auditorium, classrooms, offices, and practice rooms. Hill Hall was dedicated in 1930 when Herbert Hoover was president, and for the next 85 years, it was essentially unchanged. That all began to change when Mark Katz and I took Tom Keenan out to lunch. just a few years ago and presented him with a proposal that the Keenan Trust might help us with the renovation of Hill Hall Auditorium. That led to a $5 million gift from the Keenan Trust, an additional $5 million from the Office of the Provost, and then roughly $10 million in funds raised by friends of the Department of Music. And we are obviously thrilled with the result. That gift from the Keenan Trust merely amplified the gifts from the Trust over 10 years ago that funded the Keenan Music Building and created the Keenan Music Scholars that have literally transformed this department. I also want to assure you that we are not finished advocating for this department and its students, and we won't be satisfied until we have state-of-the-art practice rooms. To replace those third-world facilities down in the basement of Hill Hall. They're still an embarrassment. But that's enough talk about buildings. Let's talk about you, the class of 2017. Over the years, I've talked to many Carolina seniors who really dreaded this day because they had fallen in love with this place. They love Carolina. And I suspect that many of you out here right now fall into that situation, just looking for an excuse to stay for one more year. At Harvard University, and I'm sure you know about this, Dr. Kelly, several days before the actual commencement, they observe what Harvard calls Class Day, when some selected undergraduates and noted alumni speak, often humorously. One of the most famous of these Class Day speeches was given by the noted writer George Plimpton, who in 1977 famously said to Harvard about-to-be graduates, quote, "Go back to your rooms, unpack, and lock the doors. There's nothing much out here." Now, if you are tempted by that, let me remind you that UNC has already rented your room to someone else. And your parents, while they will be glad to have you back for a while, can't support you for a long term and don't want you back long term. You have to go out into the world. So get over it. You have to go. And you have to listen to a little bit more unsolicited advice. That's what commencement speeches are. Mark Twain famously said that the first thing a person ought to do every day is swallow a live frog. Then you could get along with your day with the satisfaction of knowing that the worst of your day was over. So this is your live frog moment. I don't remember many commencement speeches, and I actually only remember one that was given here, and it was given in Keenan Stadium by the Reverend Peter Gomes, the Plummer Professor of Christian Morals and the Pusey Minister of the Harvard Memorial Church. And in his speech, Gomes said to the students, "So my job is to speak. It is your job to listen. And if you finish your job before I finish mine, I hope you'll be kind enough to wait for me." Before getting to the unsolicited advice, however, you need to be congratulated one more time. This is a very special day for you. You will be kissed, your hands will be shaken, and your bodies will be embraced by hundreds of people, scores of people, before this day is out. All of them will congratulate you on your stellar accomplishments and your bright promise and the great future that I await you, and I, of course, joined them. Congratulations one more time, graduates of 2017. And congratulations for choosing Carolina, a great public research university in which to choose and pursue your major in music. You probably could have chosen a conservatory or a prestigious school of music in another university, but instead you chose this place, where you could not only get a first-class musical education, but a great education grounded in the liberal arts and sciences. 3 years ago, I spent a year as the interim chancellor of the UNC School of the Arts in Winston-Salem. interrupting several years of teaching first-year seminars here at Carolina after I left the Chancellor's office, seminars in music and culture. And while I was at UNCSA, I observed that the students there were totally different from Carolina students. They were laser-focused, committed almost solely to the perfection of their art. Most of them had known since they were in elementary school that they were destined to be performing artists. So they were in the right place. You are also in the right place. A very different place. A great research university with a liberal arts core. Just a few weeks ago, many of you were involved in the performance of the Defiant Requiem, commemorating the courageous performances of Verdi's Manzoni Requiem by the inmates of the Theresienstadt concentration camp during the Third Reich. This concert was sponsored jointly by the Department of Music and the Center for Jewish Studies, part of a deeper exploration of the meaning of the Holocaust. It was a stunningly beautiful performance. No music school in America could have done it better. Would all of you who were involved in that performance just stand and be recognized? Everybody who sang or played in that performance? Thank you. Memorial Hall was packed, and I'm sure many of your parents were there, but also there were many Carolina students who had never heard a performance of the Verdi Requiem and who knew very little about the Holocaust. It was a great teachable moment that only a great university could do. Yes, you are in the right place. I'm guessing that many of you struggled with what your major was going to be. I'm guessing that more than a few of you had arguments with your parents about majoring in music. I used to tell my own students that they should not major in music unless it was the only path they could choose and be happy. It is not an easy road. Your parents were right to be concerned, but to them I say this: an education in music is great preparation for life. Your sons and daughters have not only perfected their musical skills, they have learned how to work in teams, to learn independently, to use both the right and the left sides of their brain, things that are highly prized in the 21st century. They are natural entrepreneurs. I can remember having these same struggles with myself and my parents before I went to college, with multiple interests in addition to music, yet passionate in my belief that I could not live my life without music. I needed a liberal arts university to explore all the possibilities that life could present. And perhaps that's why I've had so many different careers over the course of my life. I wish the same for you. Conservatories are great for people who are laser-focused about one thing. I used to say that trade schools train students for their first job, but a great university educates you for your last job. And when I was teaching, I used to tell undergraduates that they could expect to have at least 7 careers over the course of a lifetime. But that number is no longer correct. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a university graduate today can have 12 to 15 careers over a lifetime. So no matter what your degree is today, from a bachelor's degree to a PhD, your education is not finished. It is not complete. It is no accident that we call this ceremony commencement. It is the beginning of the rest of your life, the beginning of lifelong learning and change. So this is my charge to you, that you embrace for yourselves a life of continuous learning. Second, in choosing Carolina, you chose a university with a deep commitment to freedom and social justice. Born in the very movement for democracy that created the United States of America. When I was chancellor, I used to talk a lot about being a great university. But I also heard a question I also posed a question that I first heard from a student, and it was this: why can't Carolina be both great and good? By that, we meant a university committed to the highest standards of excellence, but also a university with a clear and strong moral center. The law creating the University of North Carolina in 1789, written in the same year as the U.S. Constitution, begins with these words in elegant 18th century language. Whereas in all regulated governments, it is the indispensable duty of every legislature to consult the happiness of a rising generation and endeavor to fit them for an honorable discharge of the social duties of life by paying strictest attention to their education, the University of North Carolina is hereby created. We have paid the strictest attention to your education, and now we pass the torch on to you to discharge honorably the social duties of life. Our founders did not trust the few elite private universities that already existed at the time of the Revolution. They didn't trust that they would be sufficient to provide for an educated citizenry necessary to support a democratic society. So they invented public higher education that began here in Chapel Hill 224 years ago. The language of our charter is a powerful charge and an awesome responsibility. Our country has never needed an enlightened and well-educated citizenry more than it does today. I graduated from the University of Texas, which has emblazoned across the front of its main building these words from the New Testament: "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free." I and your grandparents remember a time when the news came to us on 3 television networks in black and white. We all listened to Walter Cronkite and Chet Huntley as we learned the truth about Vietnam or Watergate. Over the years I was teaching this first-year seminar, I would ask my students every semester how many regularly read newspapers or watched television news, and I was shocked to see how few of them did. Now we have the scourge of fake news. Deliberate falsifications spread as news. It was Daniel Patrick Moynihan who famously said, "Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, to his own opinion, but not his own facts." You have a responsibility as educated people to be well-informed. An alternative fact is a lie with a fancy name. You also have a job as educated citizens to be engaged. Find a cause that you are passionate about and work for it. Many of you already are, and I salute your activism. To me, that is what being truly successful looks like. My wish for you is that you will find something that is worth doing, not just something you're good at or for something that you can make money. I want you to have a life with meaning, that you will find a true and genuine vocation, which is, as Fred Buechner describes it, where your joy meets the world's great need. Many of you have become engaged with public service as Carolina students. This morning, 245 students graduated with distinction as Buckley Public Service Scholars. Marissa Crawford is one of those students. Congratulations, Marissa. One of the best public service endeavors for music students at Carolina is Musical Empowerment, a program that offers free music lessons to underprivileged children in this community. 3 graduating seniors are among the 22 music students who taught music lessons through that program this year. These seniors are Elise San Pedro, Lee Landris, and Marisa Crawford. Would you 3 stand and be recognized? A 5th student, Mai Riquier, graduated in December. Professors Mark Callahan and Eris Golden gave workshops to the teachers, and Professors Brent Wissick and Emil Kang served on the board of directors. This program is headed by Meredith Richard, who graduated in 2015. This year, 120 students, children, received free music lessons, and since 2011, we have taught 315 children. This program is opening doors and changing lives. Many of you participated in the first ever Arts Everywhere on campus. One day in April, we had 55 performances on 23 sites on this campus, with over 200 artists and performers. The best statistic of all is that there were 16,173 views on Snapchat. I heard someone comment that just hearing one of those pianos being played as they walked across campus brought a smile to their face. Someone else said, "It's hard to be angry when you hear music being played." Thanks to the class of 2017 for your incredible commitment to public service. And I hope that you will take this commitment with you wherever you go. You have already learned that the best way to find meaning in your life is by helping others. There's another aspect to honorably discharging your social duties, and that is working to bridge the many ideological and cultural divides that separate us from each other. We need to learn how to listen to other people and really hear what they're saying. We need to listen to people with whom we don't agree. Our country yearns for the civil discourse that we take for granted on this campus. Somehow we have got to get beyond the talking heads on cable television shouting to us to get the quiet conversation where we actually listen to one another. And I hope that you will take that part of this campus culture with you wherever you go. This next admonition is not going to be easy for you to accept, but this is what you need to hear. Cherish your failures. Cherish the things that have not gone right with you. Cherish the mistakes that you have made and that you will make and that you're likely to make. Why? Because my sense is that most of us learn more from our failures than from our successes. When we succeed at anything, we either take it for granted as a bit of unmerited luck, but we don't think a great deal about it. We just go on to the next mountain or the next victory or the next prize. But when we fail, when we stumble, when things do not go as they ought, we take time to wonder, what went wrong? What happened? Now, I know that this is hard advice to take in this community that cherishes its capacity for winning. I understand that. But ask yourselves this question. Would UNC have won the national championship in 2017 without the failure in 2016? Does anyone believe that this team would have accomplished what it did without the fuel of failure and disappointment? Almost the same thing happened in 2009. Again, an embarrassing failure the year before led to a championship in 2009. Failure fueled success. You couldn't have a better time to go out into the world. Addressing the United Nations last fall, President Obama took a moment to highlight for fellow world leaders what he called the most important fact about the state of global affairs. And this is what he said: human existence on planet Earth is good and getting better. War is down, while life expectancy is up. Democracy is on the march, and science has beaten back infectious diseases. A girl in a remote village can download the entirety of human knowledge on a smartphone. A person born today, Obama concluded, is more likely to be safer, healthier, wealthier, and better educated, and see a path to prosperity than at any time in human history. Now, that description of the world today may not agree with what you hear on cable news or from some current political leaders, but who like to stress what a mess the world is in, but that is the truth. This is a great time to be alive. And from this dichotomy, I think you can take a lesson. You can live your life with a glass half empty or a glass half full perspective. And my admonition to you is to be positive. Choose the latter. Finally, don't forget to thank your teachers and your parents who have supported you along the way. Stay in touch with those teachers who have been your role models. And as you go through life, add new role models. Imagine that you are assembling your own personal board of trustees. People whose advice and counsel you trust, who will always tell you the truth, who will support you when you fail and cheer for you when you succeed. That's what I want for each one of you to have. And finally, don't lose your love for Carolina, even as you have to go away. Now, I know that you're not going to remember much of what I said today, and I'm not insulted by knowing this, so I'm going to review. Here's what I said. Get over it. You have to go. You have no choice. Go. 2, embrace a life of continuous learning. This is the beginning, not the end. 3, be engaged with public service. Enrich your life by helping others. 4, learn from your mistakes and failures and create your own personal board of trustees. Approach life with a positive attitude, the glass half full versus the glass half empty. At Carolina, you have experienced both a strong commitment to excellence and a genuine commitment to creating a better world. Take that commitment to excellence with you wherever you go, to conquer mediocrity wherever you find it. Take that commitment to social justice with you, to fight discrimination and inequality wherever it exists. This is what you are called to do. This is what you have the capacity to do. Good luck and God bless you, and commence that journey that is the rest of your lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. Graduates, today is not the final chapter of your association with UNC. As much as we've tried to tell you, you have to go. You are now a part of an extended Department of Music family that is connected by our Alumni Association. We want to hear your stories, celebrate your successes, and retain your support of your alma mater, so please stay in touch with the department. Families and friends, thank you for your support of your graduates. You deserve a hand. We have family members from 2 former chancellors, the governor, I see deans in the audience. Would all family and friends that came to support these graduates stand up and let them see you? Who is here? Now, as you sit down, parents, you have finished paying college tuition for your graduate. We want to invite you to continue sending your checks to support the work of the Department of Music. You haven't had that income for 4 years, so you probably won't miss it, and we will certainly put it to good use. So please, consider making a donation to our music website or to the UNC Arts and Sciences Foundation. To the graduate, it is never too early to start sending in your donations. $5 does work, and I've signed each form, so a letter of thanks. So please do keep that in mind. That was a shameless appeal, wasn't it? I cannot let this occasion end without thanking the people who have worked tirelessly to support and intellectually engage the students in the department. Would the members of the Department of Music faculty and staff, if they're present, please stand and be recognized. I see a lot in the back and those on the stage. This department would not run without the dedication of all of these people who are here day after day. At the conclusion of today's ceremony, please join me in the rotunda for a reception catered by our women's music fraternity, Sigma Alpha Iota. Our final musical selection will be the Allegro Molto from Fauré's First Piano Quartet, performed by Ethan Chu, Elizabeth Eason, Apurva Iyengar, and Hannah Laura Pearson. Before they begin, however, please stand and join me in the singing of Hark the Sound. Thank you and congratulations to all. Hark the sound of time.